Imagine you're walking down a busy street in any Indian city, surrounded by the sounds of daily life.
Oh, yeah.
And you realize just how many different languages and dialects you hear in just that short walk.
Yeah, you really start to get a sense of the incredible linguistic tapestry of India. I mean, it's really something else.
It's pretty amazing, and that's what we're diving into today.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a look at the fascinating world of languages in India and why it has so many of them.
That's right. We're talking about 22 officially recognized languages, and then on top of that, a staggering number of dialects.
Over 19,000.
Over 19,000. Yeah. So we're going to try to uncover the historical, the geographical, and the cultural factors that led to this incredible diversity.
Because I think a lot of people have this very simplified view of language in India. They might know that Hindi is widely spoken, but they don't necessarily grasp the full complexity of the situation.
Yeah, it's so much more than just Hindi. We're talking about a situation where language is very closely tied to regional identity community, even more so sometimes than religion or caste.
So this deep dive is for anyone who wants to understand how all these languages and dialects coexist and thrive in India. We're going to look at the big picture, the official languages, the mind-boggling number of dialects, and all the movements that are going on to recognize even more languages.
We're going to break it all down into manageable chunks and hopefully provide a really clear picture of this fascinating linguistic landscape.
Okay, so India, one of the most linguistically diverse countries in the world.
Yeah.
It's no secret.
It's absolutely true. And to really understand this, you have to understand that this diversity is rooted in thousands of years of historiography and cultural influences.
It's not just a random assortment of languages, right? There are reasons why India has such a rich tapestry of different ways of speaking.
Precisely. I mean, think about it. India's history is marked by the rise and fall of countless civilizations, empires, kingdoms, each with its own language and cultural influences.
Yeah, you have the ancient empires like the Mauryas, the Guptas, the Cholas. They all played a role in shaping the linguistic map of India.
And then you have the geographical factors, too. The Himalayas, the vast river systems, the deserts. All these features acted as natural barriers separating communities and allowing languages to develop in isolation.
Like little pockets of linguistic evolution happening all over the subcontinent.
Yeah, exactly. And these pockets weren't completely isolated. There was always some degree of interaction, trade routes, migrations, invasions. All these things led to cultural exchanges and linguistic influences.
And then, of course, you can't forget the impact of colonialism.
Right. Colonialism left a lasting legacy on the languages of India. I mean, English, for example, became a language of administration and education, and it continues to be a major language in India today.
So we've got all these historical, geographical, and cultural factors coming together to create this amazing diversity of languages.
Yeah, it's like a perfect storm for linguistic diversity.
And this diversity isn't just about words and grammar. It's about identity, community, and culture.
Absolutely. In India, language is very deeply connected to a person's sense of self, to their region, and their community. In some cases, language can be an even stronger identifier than religion or caste.
So it's not just a way of communicating, it's a core part of who you are.
Exactly. And that's why language is such a sensitive and important issue in India.
Okay, so to try to manage this linguistic diversity a little bit, India has officially recognized 22 languages in its constitution.
That's right. These are called the scheduled languages, and they're listed in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution.
So we're talking about Hindi, Bengali, Telugu, Marathi, Tamil, Urdu, Gujarati, Malayalam, Kannada, Odia, Punjabi, Assamese, Maithili, Santali, Kashmiri, Nepali, Konkani, Sindhi, Dogri, Manipuri, Bodo, and Sanskrit.
That's quite a list, and each of these languages represents a significant linguistic community with its own rich history and culture.
Now, giving these languages official recognition means that they can be used for things like education, government administration, and even in parliament.
Exactly. It ensures that speakers of these languages have the opportunity to learn in their mother tongue, to participate in government, and to access information and services in their own language.
So it's a step towards linguistic equality and inclusion.
It is, and it's also important to note that individual states within India can also choose to adopt one or more of these scheduled languages as their official languages.
Right, so you might have a situation where Hindi is the official language at the national level, but a state like Tamil Nadu might have Tamil as its official language.
Exactly. It's all about recognizing and respecting the linguistic diversity within India.
Now, two languages that often come up in discussions about Indian languages are Hindi and English. So can you clarify the roles that they play?
Sure. Hindi is the official language of the union government. It's written in the Devanagari script, and it's spoken by a significant portion of the Indian population.
Around 44%.
Right around 44% of Indians speak Hindi as their first language. Now, English, on the other hand, serves as an associate official language.
Meaning it's used alongside Hindi?
Exactly. It's used for communication between the central government and the state governments, as well as between different states.
And it's also widely used in education business and the media.
It is, but it's really important to clarify that India doesn't have a national language.
Right. The Supreme Court has ruled that there's no designated national language for the country.
It's all about recognizing the multilingual nature of India and respecting the linguistic rights of all its citizens.
Okay, so we've talked about the official languages, but now let's dive into the world of dialects, because that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah, the number of dialects in India is truly staggering, over 19,000, according to some estimates.
19,000? That's mind-boggling. How do we even begin to understand that kind of linguistic diversity?
Well, it's important to remember that India has a long and complex history with a lot of different groups of people migrating and settling in different parts of the subcontinent.
And these migrations happened over centuries.
Over centuries, yeah. And as these groups settled in different regions, they brought their languages and cultures with them, and over time, these languages evolved and diversified, giving rise to a multitude of dialects.
So it's like each region developed its own unique flavor of language.
Exactly. And this process was further influenced by the geographical factors we talked about earlier. The mountains, the rivers, the deserts, all these features created pockets of isolation where languages could develop in their own unique ways.
So you might have a situation where two villages just a few miles apart speak dialects that are quite different from each other.
Yeah, that's very common. And it's one of the things that makes India such a linguistically fascinating place.
But this also raises the question of what exactly is a dialect and how is it different from a language?
That's a great question, and it's one that linguists have been debating for centuries. There's no easy answer because the line between language and dialect can be very blurry.
So there's no clear-cut definition.
Not really. One way to think about it is that a dialect is a variation of a language that's spoken in a particular region or by a particular group of people.
So, for example, American English and British English are dialects of the English language.
Exactly. They're both English, but they have different accents, vocabulary, and even some grammatical variations.
But in the case of India, it gets even more complex because some of the so-called dialects are actually quite distinct from the languages they're considered to be dialects of.
That's right. Take Bhojpuri, for example. It's often classified as a dialect of Hindi, but many linguists argue that it's actually a separate language altogether with its own unique grammar and vocabulary.
And the same goes for languages like Magahi, Awadhi, and many others.
Absolutely. These languages have their own literary traditions, their own cultural identities, and they're spoken by millions of people.
So lumping them together as dialects of Hindi can be seen as a way of downplaying their significance and undermining their status as distinct languages.
Exactly. And that's why there are many movements in India that are fighting for the recognition of these languages as separate and distinct from Hindi.
So it's not just about preserving these languages, it's about giving them the recognition they deserve.
Absolutely. It's about cultural identity, linguistic rights, and the right to education in one's mother tongue.
And these movements are gaining momentum.
They are. Communities across India are demanding that their languages be included in the 8th schedule of the Constitution.
We're talking about languages like Bhojpuri, Tulu, Rajasthani, Chhattisgarhi, Garhwali, and many others.
These are languages spoken by millions of people with rich cultural traditions, and they deserve to be recognized and respected.
So this whole issue of languages and dialects in India is really a microcosm of the larger issue of diversity and inclusion.
It is. It's about acknowledging and valuing the different ways of speaking and expressing oneself that exist within a society.
And it's about creating a space where all languages and cultures can thrive.
Exactly. It's about celebrating the richness of human expression and ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to use their own language and to have their voice heard.
Before we wrap up, I want to touch on some of the really interesting facts we came across while researching this topic.
Oh, yeah, please do.
Like the fact that Sanskrit is the least spoken of the scheduled languages, but it holds this incredible sacred status.
It's amazing, right? Sanskrit is considered to be the mother of many modern Indian languages, and it plays a central role in Hindu scriptures and rituals.
So even though it's not spoken by a large number of people, it has immense cultural and religious significance.
Exactly. It's a classical language that continues to be studied and revered.
And then we have the fact that Bengali is the second most spoken native language in India after Hindi.
which might come as a surprise to some people.
It did to me, I have to admit.
Yeah,
But it goes to show that there's so much more to India's linguistic landscape than just Hindi.
absolutely. And it's also interesting to note that there are languages in India that are spoken by millions of people, but they're still not officially recognized.
Like Tulu.
Tulu is a great example. It's spoken by over 2 million people in Karnataka, but it's not included in the 8th schedule.
Which means that speakers of Tulu face certain disadvantages when it comes to things like education and government services.
Exactly. It highlights the ongoing struggle for linguistic recognition and the need to include more languages in the 8th schedule.
And finally, the fact that some languages in India exist purely as oral traditions with no written script.
That's fascinating, isn't it? It shows the incredible diversity of linguistic expression and the importance of preserving these oral traditions.
So to sum up, India's linguistic landscape is a truly remarkable and complex one with a history, geography, and culture that have all contributed to the development of over 22 official languages and thousands of dialects.
It's a country where language is deeply intertwined with identity, community, and culture.
And while there have been efforts to recognize and protect this diversity through the 8th schedule of the Constitution, there's still a lot of work to be done to ensure that all languages and dialects are valued and respected.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing process, but it's one that's essential for creating a truly inclusive and equitable society.
And I think for our listeners, it might be interesting to ponder how this incredible diversity of languages impacts everyday life in India.
Yeah, how does it affect things like communication, education, business, and politics? It's a question worth exploring further.
Because language is more than just a tool for communication. It's a reflection of who we are and how we see the world.
Well said. And in a country as diverse as India, language plays a vital role in shaping the social, cultural, and political landscape.
So next time you think about India, I encourage you to think beyond the Taj Mahal and the vibrant colors and spices.
Yeah, delve into the world of its languages, and you'll discover a whole new dimension to this incredible country.
A dimension that's full of richness, complexity, and a profound beauty.
It's a world waiting to be explored.
And that concludes our deep dive into the fascinating world of languages in India.
Until next time.
Take care.
Bye.